Done looking.
Are you able to see? I don't want to. Are you able to see right there?
Yep. Yep.
Sit wherever you want.
Yep. This is your party now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let us worry about all the
Yeah.
nonsense.
I want you to enjoy yourself.
Yes. I am.
Good. Justin, did you tell your dad just to get up and get you in line whenever
Yep.
it's time?
Yep.
Okay.
So whenever we get up, he'll get up. That's what I told him. Great. Let me double check something on here. Streaming at the
Stay right in here.
How everyone will do. Whatever I need, left.
Okay. Here at the back there. Perfect.
I'm like,
Joseph.
don't let this go by.
Excited? Yes?
I guess.
Should be. You guys going out to dinner after this?
Big.
Are you guys staying here tonight, most of you?
It's good.
Already on the 9th floor, is that what you said? 9th floor.
What's your room number, Dr. Nate?
I'm in a suite on the 4th floor.
Okay. I'm on the 5th. Well, we're just gonna go ding dong ditch every suite till we find it.
427.
So,
Stage. I'm disappointed in the tie. I expected the tie that was down to fly across the stage. Oh, that's like a train by Bohemian Madness.
Yeah, Piper, if you're watching, I love you.
Good evening, everybody. Oh, we can do much better than that. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Daniel. Appreciate that. The class of 2028, every Monday morning at 8:05, because we start at 8:05, not 8, do we? 8:05. When I say good morning, one of the many things you're going to hear about this class is they're wonderful what at 8:05. Good morning, class.
Good morning.
Amazing. Awesome. Welcome to the NSUOCO class of 2028 White Coat Ceremony. My name is Dr. Nate Lighthizer. I am fortunate and love to serve as Dean of the Oklahoma College of Optometry at NSUOCO. Excited to help lead you through our program over the next hour and 10 minutes or so. We do want to introduce and recognize some special guests that are in the audience. Let's give a nice warm welcome for Dr. Carla Swearingen, Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs. Miss Patsy Nix Smith with the Nix Foundation. Mr. Jimmy Nix with the Nix Foundation. Mr. Andy Nix with the Nix Foundation. Mr. Joel Robeson, Executive Director of the Oklahoma Association of Optometrists. Dr. Justin Lindsay, current President of the Oklahoma Association of Optometrists. I believe he's here. Dr. Jeff Edwards, immediate past President of the OAOP. And Dr. Jason Rhines, Vice President, President-elect of the OAOP. I'm not sure if he's here or not. Okay. Let's also recognize our wonderful NSUOCO faculty. If you are a faculty member of the NSU Oklahoma College of Optometry, please stand. We've got a wonderful program for you tonight with just a wonderful keynote speaker, Dr. Joseph Shetler, that will be up here in just a second. But before we get there, I wanted to give you a little information on the NSUOCO class of 2028. You know, I get to know them personally as they become second years. I don't see them much as first years. I don't have a first year class. They're not in clinic yet. So I always ask my wife, Dr. Jenna, who teaches them, right in August as they start to become second years, so tell me about this class. And they had a good reputation. She goes, oh, they're a good one. They're a really, really good class, really smart class, and they have lived up to that thus far. I've been incredibly impressed. So let me tell you a little bit about them. What do they like? No, what do they love? They love ping pong. I'm telling you, they love ping pong. Meibomian Madness just finished at NSUOCO. That is the official name of the ping pong tournament, organized by the second-year class. And they are awesome at ping pong. They are incredibly talented, and they put on a great show. They are technologically savvy. Look at this. Look at this setup here. This is the first time ever the white coat ceremony has been streamed live. We are on Facebook and Insta Twitter and Snapgram and all these different things that I know nothing about. But they live streamed the ping pong tournament. They are technologically savvy. So they love ping pong. They love technology. They love pickleball. They are great at pickleball. They're currently playing a mixed doubles pickleball tournament with the class of 2028. Who's going to win? Okay, there you go. So I love that about. They love ping pong. What else do they love? They love bonus points. They love bonus points. Come on now, let's do. You can get them to cheer for. I'm a Minnesota Viking fan. That is the cheer. You can get them to do anything cheering. That's +1 on test number 3. So they love bonus points. But seriously, they love eyeballs. They love optometry. They're an incredibly smart group, an incredibly sharp group. They ask high-level questions. Second-year questions, third-year questions, fourth-year questions. We love how interactive and engaged we are. Don't we, faculty? Yes. How interactive they are. That means a lot. That means they're engaged and they care. They are a special class, okay? So they know a lot. They know, class, I've had a little lower left eyelid twitch, an annoying twitch for the last couple of, what's that called? Myokymia. How could we treat that? Don't be so stressed. And what else? Lack of caffeine. I don't drink caffeine, thank goodness. Would you guys want to see me on caffeine, faculty? It's horrible. Okay. Sir, you want to put a needle? Yeah. What do you want to inject?
Botox.
They want some Botox. They can't wait. Okay. They know what this is. They know. I'm going to show you an eyelid lesion. You ready? They love going to the Oklahoma College of Optometry. Before I get into this picture, Oklahoma optometry is special. Okay? It is special because of Joel Robeson and Dr. Justin Lindsay and Jeff Edwards and the OAOP board. We have the best optometry association in the country, hands down. There you go, hear it. Every single state has a state association that represents optometry. We are the school that educates. The board of examiners, we have to get an optometry license. They are what grants you an optometry license. Their job is to protect the public. To say, I'm qualified, and those faculty are qualified to have a license, but they're not qualified just yet. They will be, okay? They hand the license. Their job is to protect the public, and the state association represents optometry. Fights for optometry, reimbursement from insurance, whether it's vision insurance, medical insurance, fighting for procedures that we can do. How many of you know that Oklahoma has the best optometry law in the nation? How many of you know that? Laser procedures, injections, surgical procedures. I have been fortunate to travel around the country and the world, and I will tell you, the Oklahoma College of Optometry at NSU is internationally renowned. I was sending emails with Australia an hour ago, and they are wanting to do research with us, sending students here, and they'd like maybe some of our future students to go there as well. Okay? Internationally recognized because of the OAOP, the Oklahoma Association of Optometric Physicians. These students here, they're going to be a member of the OAOP someday, or their state association, wherever they go back to, because that's what fights for optometry. And because of all of the battles they have won through the 90s and 2000s and 2010s, we get to do a couple of these things I'm going to show you. So I'm going to show you an eyelid lesion. You ready? What is this? Again, I told you they're really smart. Really, really sharp. We got a little cheesy cyst. What is that? A cyst of? Cyst of sight. They know that. And they're so excited. They're asking. They love watching videos. Look at this. They love this. Look at, oh, isn't that so good? That is so good. And I put this video on loop so you can watch it again and again and again. Right before dinner. We have a reception after where we're serving cheese and crackers. It's going to be wonderful. Okay? But they love it. They know what this is. And they're excited when they get into fourth year to start removing these lesions. Or taking a look. Oh. There we go. One more. They know they're going to learn on Monday morning from Dr. Aubrey Tackett what this is. When they have disorders of the lens, and a patient that's already had cataract surgery that has a super cloudy membrane afterwards. Would you want to look through that? This patient's vision was hand motion. That's all they could see. And during their fourth year, they're going to do laser procedures that you're watching here to clear that cloudy membrane. They're already asking questions about this, wanting to see videos of this. An incredibly, incredibly smart group. More so than that, I've loved that they are a tight-knit group. They have shown professionalism, respect, kindness from the moment that I've seen them in second year. And the first year faculty have said the same thing as well. And that's what it's all about. And that's really what tonight is about, the white coat ceremony. And Dr. Joseph Shetler is going to come up and talk to you about professionalism and respect. This group has started off so strong. Okay? Let's give a round of applause for the class of 2028. If you are a mom, dad, sister, brother, grandparent, sibling, spouse of them, you should be very, very proud of your loved ones sitting up there. The young men and young women that they are and the doctors that they are becoming. And they are going to be wonderful, wonderful doctors. It is my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Joseph Shetler. Dr. Shetler is a graduate of Indiana University. And he practiced in Nebraska and South Dakota for close to 25, 30 years. And then we were blessed to have him come down to NSUOCO in the spring of 2013. What a great thing to have somebody that was in private practice for 25 years to teach these students as they get into third year and fourth year how to run a business. They want to know about eyelid lesions, correct? But you probably want to make a little bit of money at some point, would you not? So to have his expertise is just a wonderful thing for our students. So help me welcome to the stage Dr. Joseph Shetler.
Well, Dean Lighthizer builds you up, and then he says, can I come up here and tell the truth? Okay? So you love ping pong, right?
Yeah.
Who was the champion ping pong player? Was that a second year? No, it was a first year, right? So you got a ways to go. And you love pickleball, right? Who are the pickleball champions? Dean Lighthizer and a senior, and I mean senior by Medicare standards, faculty member that were the pickleball champions. So you got a ways to go. I get to tell the truth. And so I thought, I can contemplate what to say tonight, and I can go through all the professional cliches, right? You're tight knit, give 110%, come to class with your A game, come to clinic with all the knowledge that you have here. I can give you a 20-minute feel-good speech. We can have some refreshments. Your parents will be proud, and we can call it good, okay? But what if, just for a moment, we decided that I should maybe convey to you more than pleasant platitudes? That when you walk across this stage tonight, it's more than just a photo op. Now, we're set up for photos, right? We're live on FaceTime or Facebook, Instagram. Actually, I know better, right? I'm not sure Dean Lighthizer actually did. I'm not sure what kind of a slip that was. But when you walk across this stage, maybe it's more than a photo op. Maybe it's more than a reflection of just how good you think that you are. Maybe it's a moment of challenge, and maybe it's a moment of reflection. Now, I'm going to have you take your cell phone out. Don't tell me you don't have one. You've all got one in your pocket. If not, I'll let you create a virtual cell phone, all right? If you're behind on texting, emails, and Instagram, don't worry. Monday morning class comes soon enough. I was also very, very disappointed to find out you start at 8:05. When you become my student in health systems, we start at 8 o'clock, okay? Just so you know where the standards are. And so take your cell phone out. Take heart. Class time will come soon enough on Monday morning to catch up. But go ahead and be a rebel, right? And get them way out here and go ahead and take a selfie. Let's see you do it either with your own photo or with a virtual. Either one. Go ahead and smile. Some of you aren't smiling. All right. Look accomplished. Right? All right. Now you've got that. You hold it out and you take it. Now you have something to post Monday morning during class. Right? So that you'll have something to do there. Okay, we're done with it now. Wow. Give them an inch, they take a mile. Right? So, when you look at it, what do you see? Well, before you look at it real carefully, I'd like you to take a look, first of all, of what's in the background. Dr. Lighthizer led a little bit to this fact, but they may seem a little out of focus. But believe me, there are some very important people in the background of that selfie that you just took. And I would attest that most of you, no matter how smart you think you are, or how clinically advanced you hope to become, most of you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the ones that you saw in the background. And so, I don't know who you might have seen there. Perhaps it was parents. Perhaps it was siblings. Perhaps it was an alumnus of NSUOCO that served as a mentor, but someone who believed in you was in that photograph. Someone that believed in you and were struggling enough and were having trouble believing in yourself. Maybe they were the one that you called on the phone, or maybe still will call as you go through boards, wanting to quit. Or maybe you wanted to discuss that professor, the one who treated you so unfairly. I'm not sure which one of these white coats would do that to you, but there are a few of us, and you're going to call and you're going to complain about that professor that treated you so unfairly. You know the ones I'm talking about, the ones that actually expect you to know the material, the ones who are going to give you not the grade you think you're entitled to, but the grade you actually earn. Maybe the person on the other end of the call who was in the foreground of that virtual photograph, maybe they lifted you up. Maybe they gave you the toughen up speech. Whatever it takes. But many of you and most of you would not be walking across this stage tonight without them. And a big part of becoming the doctor that you want to be and the doctor that your patients want to see is going to be displayed with the way that you walk across tonight. So you need to walk across with an attitude of gratitude. You may be very intelligent. You may be very driven and you may be very disciplined. But without the sacrifice of your parents, your support team that are here tonight, almost had trouble with having enough seats, thank you for all your support, you would not be here. So regardless of your story, you're not the only author. Now look in the foreground of that selfie, and you'll see someone who has dedicated many years to arrive at this time. Long nights preparing for tests, in many cases self-created because you procrastinated until the last moment and then you couldn't find a study room for the hours that you actually needed. But when you walk across this stage and put on the white coat, you know there's a flip on that camera that can make it see one way, or you can flip it around and you can make it see the other. Well, tonight when you walk across, that camera's going to flip. And it's no longer a selfie. It's no longer about you. But that picture is going to be of the patient whose life is going to be negatively or positively affected by your skills and your compassion. And you know what? I can assure you, that the world doesn't need another arrogant doctor. We got plenty. What we have is an abundant supply already, but the world can always use a doctor who humbly focuses on the needs of those around them. You, unlike any other generation before, are filled up in a world of selfies and self-promotion like the world has never seen. But yet the white coat still represents and stands in direct contrast to that attitude. The white coat represents service. The white coat represents servanthood. A true servant places the needs of others before his or her own needs. The white coat quickly gives the impression of how you see your profession, your calling, your servanthood. Is it clean when you come to clinic? Is it hygienic? Especially in a world which is so viral laden, kind of the one we now live in, or at least the way we see it. Does it say to the patient, I care? Or are they just another encounter that you want to record, get done, and put in your electronic health records? You know, I distinctly remember, even 42 years later, I distinctly remember learning what the white coat really meant. I was a young optometrist, 25 years of age, or getting pretty close, at the Indian Health Service. And I had been called in that night to see a patient that had been struck in the eye. Now maybe if I had been a 2028 class of NSUOCO graduate, I would have been able to stitch up that brow. So learn how to do it. But I didn't. I came in to see the patient to make sure that the eye was all right. I had looked it over, and we were waiting around for the ER doc to finish up what he was doing in the other bay and to come in and stitch the patient up. The primary reason that the patient was in the ER that night was the consequence of a boot kicked in the eye and his face during a fight, spurred on by obviously too much alcohol. And his demeanor, although somewhat abusive, was fairly tolerable. And then Dr. Nathan Stinson came around the corner. He was always helping out at the ER and helping out the ER docs and showed up a lot, although he was actually our medical director. And he spent most of the day administrating in the clinic. But he oftentimes would show up at other clinics and in the ER just to see what he could do, where he was needed, and how he could help. He was the kind of a leader that you wouldn't forget. He was a small man, relatively distinguished, but one that just kind of commanded respect when he walked down the hall. And he realized the two ER docs that were there were falling a little bit behind. So he stepped in to help provide the care and to stitch up the laceration. He knew me by name, and I was kind of standing at the corner there. And he came in to assist, and he began to start to stitch. The PA that was there, a Vietnam veteran, had already put the anesthetic around the brow, and calmness seemed to be the order of the day. But sometime during the procedure, the patient became cognitive enough, or enough of the alcohol began to wear off, that our patient began to awake. Our patient looked up, and he saw that Dr. Stinson's skin color was different than his own. and he lashed out with a tirade of profanities. We looked at Dr. Stinson, and we should have reacted then, but we didn't. And Dr. Stinson just kept stitching. And those of us around the table should have done something when this occurred, but we hadn't. And then the patient, who happened to have a hook where his arm had been amputated, aroused enough that he reached around and hooked the back of Dr. Stinson's scalp and tore it open. And I watched blood run down his white coat. But you know, as I watched Dr. Stinson, he didn't flinch. He didn't change his demeanor. He didn't swear back. He just kept stitching. Story of what a white coat really means. Eventually, those of us around the table quickly gasped and quickly retained the patient, as we probably should have done in the first place. But his demeanor still didn't change even after all of that chaos. And I remember sitting down with Dr. Stinson. He encouraged us to call him Nathan, but somehow it just didn't fit. So I remember sitting down with Dr. Stinson after it had all calmed down and having a cup of coffee, and the PA was standing behind him while he was enjoying his evening coffee, stitching his scalp back together, and blood was still all over his white coat, and I, a 25-year-old optometrist, I just wanted to know. And I said, Dr. Stinson, how could you continue? How could you continue to stitch so calmly under such adverse conditions? And he sat down his cup of coffee and he looked at me, and all through your life you're going to have people like this. They're mentors that'll say things that you'll never forget, that never go away. You can still picture this to this day. And he sat down his coffee and he looked at me and he said, Joseph, it's not about me. It's about our patient. Our patient needed stitched. That was my job. I knew my team had my back, and he laughed, or at least the back of my head. Dr. Stinson, MD, PhD, MPH, went on after his stint as our medical director with the Indian Health Service, went on to serve as the director of the Division of Scientific Programs at the National Institute of Minority Health and Health Disparities. And I had the chance to learn what a white coat really means in that circumstance. What does it mean when you put on this coat tonight, when you put it on your shoulders? What I think it really means is that you are willing to sacrificially means giving up something, to work and to train so that you can take better care of your patients. In practical terms, it means placing your needs. It means placing the needs of others. It means placing the needs of others before your own. You are placing commitment to others before convenience. It would have been much easier for Dr. Stinson to just walk away from the table after that had occurred, and nobody could have blamed him. But he had a commitment to his patients, despite the adverse conditions. Commitment above convenience. What does that mean as a student in an optometric clinic, in your own practice, in your relationships to patients and family? Well, let me give you a few examples. I have noticed that student clinicians whose clinic starts at 1 tend to show up close to 1 or maybe a little after 1. What's important to those students? Their convenience or their patient's commitment. Show up. Show up every time and show up on time. I typically am assigned Friday afternoon clinic with second years. Team meeting is at 12:45. Your computer is on, your equipment is ready, and your room is organized. So at 1 o'clock, you are prepared and ready. What happens if you're not at the team meeting on time? I don't listen to excuses or justifications. I just smile and say, better luck next time, and give you a concern or an unsatisfactory. That cell phone, that fancy cell phone, I've learned that sets alarms. You can have it go off like 15 minutes before you have to be in. It can sing whatever song you want, right? You can even put a theme song on that tells you how terrible it's going to be working with Dr. Shetler that afternoon. It's all okay. Just be there at 12:45. One of the greatest joys of my life have been the people who have helped me recognize how my attitude affects my patients, now my students, used to be my own personal business, as well as my life in general. Came across another mentor, Dr. Zimmerman. Most of us, we just called him Dr. Z. He was actually a science teacher until almost his mid-40s when he decided to go back to med school and went on to be a corneal trained ophthalmologist. He had a lot of initials after his name. But you see, that really was not what was important to him. Although no one would ever question Dr. Z's clinical skills, it was his attitude every day that had a tremendous impact on his patients, his students, referring optometrists such as myself, because he had the heart of a teacher. I am a better clinician today. I am a better clinician today for having known him. Patients would walk into my clinic after seeing Paul, and they would sometimes as complex as a full-thickness corneal transplant, sometimes a pterygium, which many of you will be able to do in the state of Oklahoma, a pterygium removal. But the story was always similar. They would show me Dr. Z's personal cell phone on the card that he had given them, just in case they needed him. And then they would share how he bragged about me and my clinic, and how well that patient was being taken care of between the two of us, assuring them that they were in the best of hands between our communication. Despite the best of patient care and a seamless and professional transition between optometrist and ophthalmologist, it was one night when we were doing a LASIK booth together at a local community that I really gathered what kind of a person that he was. He had traveled a couple of hours down to my community to present this LASIK booth, and we were about to close it up, and my two sons came around the corner. My two sons, they were wearing their baseball caps crooked, and they were anxious for me to be done so that I could go to the baseball fundraiser. And Dr. Zimmerman looked up from a long day and started talking to my two boys. And he said, "Well, where are you going tonight?" And they said, "Well, we're going to a baseball fundraiser." And he said, "Can I go?" And I looked at him and I thought, well, why would you do that? You've got time, places to go, places to be. And he went with my two sons, sat down, ate hamburgers that were poorly cooked, overpaid for them, and spent the evening talking to a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old about baseball, what careers they might want, how they might choose it, even girls, but the whole gamut of what they were interested in. And he took a minute and he stepped away from his busy life to step into theirs and asked them what they were about. And as I watched this conversation, just watched it, I realized that he was genuinely interested in my sons. Genuinely. We can all act interested in our patients. Many of us are probably pretty good at it. But it wasn't just lip service. There was really nothing for him to gain. He wasn't trying to strengthen our professional relationship. He wasn't going to garnish more referrals. His attitude of caring just came through. You know, I know it's an old adage, but it's still just as true. People don't really care how much you know till they know how much you care. Do you need to know it? Absolutely. You can't provide them with the kind of care without understanding what these pictures are. But if you don't provide that care with care, your ability to really help that patient is going to be far less. Dr. Paul, in his mid-50s, he began to lose vision in one eye. So he finally slowed down long enough for one of his colleagues to look and discover a choroidal melanoma. It was soon discovered it had metastasized from his liver. And despite a valiant effort, he eventually, 3 or 4 years later, lost his life and succumbed to cancer in his mid-50s. And even though the church was large, people stood outside. Patients, doctors, community leaders, people from all walks of life who had not only been touched by his skill, but by his attitude. And on the cover of the pamphlet, you know, the one they hand you out at funeral services, he was standing there. You saw just his back. and he was overlooking the Black Hills, his beloved Black Hills of South Dakota. And there it said, you see, this wasn't a selfie. His focus was on the mountains. And at the bottom of that brochure, or whatever you would choose to call it, it said, every day you get to pick an attitude. Every day you get to pick an attitude. So why not pick a good one? Show up on time, flip your focus off the selfie and onto others. Pick a good attitude. What does it mean to pick a good attitude? Well, as you enter the clinic and as you begin to care for your patients, it means that you are coachable. Whether coaching ball players or supervising and teaching optometric clinicians, I always know it's going to be a great day when they show up with a coachable attitude. The clinician who comes with a strong desire to learn. When they walk in the clinic door, they want to be just a little bit better when they walk out the clinic door. Their goal today is not to finish as fast as I can, not to strategically figure out how I can see less patients than my colleagues by starting late. Yes, I've seen all the strategies, right? Their goal is to be coachable when they come to clinic. Their goal is to be slightly better when they walked out than when they walked in that day. When I first came in 2013, really didn't understand the system very well. I was sitting around one day at working with my students, and I noticed one student was sitting in the conference room, and the student was reading a novel. I love reading, nothing wrong with reading a novel, so I queried a little bit about what it was about, and it just seemed that there was a lot going on. It was a very busy day at the clinic, and a lot of action in the conference room, so finally I looked at the student and I inquired, what is your assignment today? What are you doing? And the student looked at me and the student said, well, I'm the duty doc. Not being as familiar with NSUOCO as many of the other faculty around, I asked the follow-up question. Well, what's a duty doc? And again, one of those moments that I'll never forget, the student looked up from the book that they were reading, they looked at me and they said, well, that means I sit here until somebody makes me do something. That's the kind of clinician I want, right? That's the kind of doctor you want to be, right? I'm going to sit here until somebody makes me do something. And so that's really not NSUOCO's definition of a duty doc, in case you're taking notes, all right? You can ask any of the white coats over here, and they'll help you with regards to what's the definition of a duty doc. When you choose that attitude that every day you walk into clinic, you're going to walk out just a little bit better. Show up on time, and choose an attitude of coachability. You take the opportunity every day to be involved in as many patient encounters as you can. You get a no-show, you step in and scribe and be the technician for somebody else. You're done early, you observe, you research, you ask questions, you listen. Because right now, more than for most of you, any other time in your life, you have resources, primarily in the form of your faculty, that you will never enjoy again. One of the greatest pleasures for me in coming to the university in 2013, when I was into the last quarter of my career, I had always practiced in a 3-doctor practice, but there were 3 of us, so you always practiced alone. And one of the greatest joys was, I'm just not quite sure about this. I can go ask somebody who probably knows more about this particular situation than I do. And I began to recognize I still had a lot to learn. Well, right now, you have the opportunity. Confused about glaucoma? You ask Dr. Miller. Dean Lighthizer literally wrote the book on the ophthalmic laser handbook for optometrists. Time is limited, but I could walk down the list of specialties and I could attach a faculty name to each one, of which you're all well aware. Take advantage of every one of those opportunities. And then maybe there are a few like me, who've been practicing optometry before you were born. And maybe we have picked up a thing or two over the last 4+ decades of practicing optometry that we'd love to share with you. Now is the time. Take advantage of every opportunity that you have. That's going to make you a better clinician. So when you put on this white coat and you walk into the clinic, you don't stand alone. Your supervisors, your checkout docs, they all stand beside you, in front of you or behind you, whatever the situation demands. And you can take the behind you and you can stretch that to mean what you think it might mean, right? But you do have to stand. Keep in mind that learning and advancement, let me tell you something, you're not going to like it. Learning and advancement comes with constructive criticism. Everybody I've ever worked with on the ball diamond coaching comes with constructive criticism. If you can't take criticism, you can't get better. Now we're going to criticize you. It's going to be done professionally and it's going to be done with a design to make you a better clinician, but it's going to happen. So the way that you take that is I came in, I was criticized today because I did such and such constructively. I'm going to learn from that and I'm going to be better. Because our job is to push you and to challenge you. Our job is to make you a little bit better than you were before. I think our job, when I say this with every class, I think our job is to make you better than any graduating class before you. I always told my sons, and I just used the word sons because I didn't have any daughters. I always told my sons that my job was not to be their friend. It was to be their father. There is a difference. My job as the other faculty here is not to be your best friend. It's to make you the best optometrist possible and weed out those who don't possess the attitude and the aptitude to be quality optometric physicians. In the end, I hope, as I hoped with my sons and has developed, as they're all several years older than you as well, that you'll look back and we'll be friends. But it's much more important to me that you look back and you say that faculty at good old NSUOCO, they were hard at times, demanding. But they played a significant role in giving me the skills so that I could better care for my patients and the population that depends on me. Commitment before convenience. Show up on time, be coachable, and make it your goal to be a little better when you walk out than when you walked in. My son Joshua, who is now an extremely organized CPA, used to walk into his room when he was a teenager, and I always try to think of something positive. So I'd walk in, I'd kick the dirty clothes around a little bit, and I'd look up and I'd go, "My, Joshua, you keep such a clean ceiling. You must spend hours cleaning the ceiling." He'd mutter something that teenage boys mutter, but one day I looked in the closet, and hanging in the closet was good old number 35. It was the only thing in the whole room that was hung up. Only thing you could find, and it was there, it was clean, and it was pristine. And well, that's kind of odd. I spent a lot of money buying all these clothes all over the floor. And so I asked him, I said, "Son, why is your uniform 35 pressed, hanging in the closet, ready for game day? Why in the midst of all this chaos is that uniform hung up?" And he responded, Dad, I'm part of a team. They need me. They expect me to play without errors. In fact, you're the one that always says one small error can make the difference between winning and losing. They need me. One drop ball can be the difference. That uniform means something to me. Now, I didn't quite know how to respond to that because it all sounded good and why nothing else on the floor meant anything to him. But nevertheless, that uniform that you're about to put on tonight has a lot of similarities to my son's good old number 35 because you are becoming part of the team. You are becoming part of the class of 2028, a brand new clinical team. You are part of a bigger team, the NSUOCO team, and soon to be NSUOCO alumni, the OAOP, the AOA. This coat represents your entry into the profession. The clinic coat, the white coat as we call it, it represents more than you. It represents commitment to meeting the needs of others. It represents you're becoming a member of an honored team, an honored profession, a lifelong learner, and you cannot serve your patients, your profession, without commitment to continual education. Another hint I'm going to give you is to value people. I spent 25 plus years in private practice in my former life, and I'm often asked by student clinicians how this procedure or this referral or this billing, how would that be done in the real world? Well, I want you to look around you. The person sitting next to you is real. These coats, they're real. The people that you are going to see when you walk in just a few months, those are real people. They're not just eyeballs for you to practice on. They come to you with real problems. They come to you with real concerns. People have value. Do they feel that value when they're with you in the clinic room? Right now, right here. And the first time you see one of those, you're going to come to see me or whatever checkout doctor it is, and I can tell you you're going to be nervous. And you're first going to come into my office to present the patient's case. I've heard it for 10 years. And you're going to say, and you're going to just stand there and you're going to shake a little and you're going to rattle this off. You're going to say, she's 56-year-old female, glasses are 2 years old, she takes drops for glaucoma, and her vision is blurry. And I'm going to look at you and I'm going to say, what's her name? And you're going to quickly look back at the chart to see what her name is. And then I'm going to say, does she have any grandchildren? You're not going to know the answer. How long has she lived here? What special vision needs does she have? Does she play the computer? Does she use a computer? Does she play a piano? And then you're going to stutter. You've asked all the questions you've been taught, but you didn't value the person. And I'm going to say something like, okay, so you're telling me you've been in an 8x10 room with this patient for 2 hours now. You can't pronounce her name. You don't know what she does for a hobby. You don't know where she lives, but you know her pupil size down to the 0.5 millimeter. People have value. Dr. Shetler, I'm caring for Mrs. Suzanne Trevor. She's a 54-year-old grandmother of 2, and she is here because she wants to teach them to play the piano, and she's having trouble seeing the notes. Now you tell me, which doctor would you rather see? Real people, real problems. Do I feel valued as a patient? Are you a doctor handing out care, or are you someone who cares? And it's a process. It's a process. That's why you're starting here and you're moving forward. It's not all going to happen in January when you walk in. It's a process. But remember, what kind of doctor do I want to be? I'm going to finish with one last story. I was home for the interim break, Christmas break, holiday break, whatever case it was. It was January 13th. I was home from IU sitting watching TV with my father. January 13th, 1982. And we were watching live, and you didn't have live news on every little thing like you do now. There were like ABC, CBS, NBC, and PBS if your antenna worked right. Okay? So we were watching kind of this fuzzy little show, and they broke in, and then here we see an airplane that had struck the 4th Street Bridge and had gone into the icy waters of the Potomac. It was Air Florida Flight 90. And we watched, and as we watched, we saw the helicopter, because there were still, the wing was still afloat, and there were still several people clinging to the wing. And my father and I watched the helicopter that was lifting off the shore, and it was going in and it was dropping down a ladder. And we watched as one man on the edge of the wing took the ladder, and he handed it to the person next to him. Wasn't his mother, wasn't his sister, wasn't anybody he even knew. And he handed that ladder to her, that string ladder, got her on, and the helicopter whirred back and took her back and set her to the side. And we watched the helicopter go back again, and we watched it drop, and because of his particular position on the wing, he was the one who always received the ladder first, and he passed it down. We were just glued to the TV and we watched this happen 6 times. The helicopter went back the 7th time. And at that time, you won't know his name, but Arlen D. Williams at that time had succumbed to the icy waters of the Potomac. Today, when you cross that bridge, it's no longer called the 14th Street Bridge. It's called the Arlen D. Williams Bridge, in honor of a man that saw 6 people on the wing more important than himself. I'm not asking you to be the world's greatest optometrist. Well, maybe I am. I'm not asking you to be perfect. You will make mistakes. But when you put on this white coat, I'm asking, no, I am expecting that you will put on the attitude of Arlen Williams, others before self. I am asking, no, I am expecting that you will put on the attitude of Dr. Zimmerman. Pick a good one. Let me be the first to congratulate you on achieving this step. It's very important, there is no doubt. Let me be the first to encourage you, to remind you that this means you are putting others before self, commitment before convenience. Because it's those things that are going to make your life a legacy in optometry. It is those things that are going to have that positive impact on your students. So congratulations to the class of 2028.
How do you follow that, huh? One more round of applause for Dr. Joe. NSUOCO class of 2028, will you please stand and line up in alphabetical order to receive your white coats? Lindsay Anstein from Owasso, Oklahoma. Samantha Black from Okmulgee, Oklahoma. Emma L. Brockman from Nixa, Missouri. Christina Page Cheney from Holton, Kansas. Corinne M. Collette from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Justin A. Dang from Fort Smith, Arkansas. Coded by his father, Dr. Kevin Dang. Julia L. Doe from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Braden S. Dyer from Nazareth, Texas. Austin Fenton from Tallahena, Oklahoma, coded by his father, Dr. Olin Fenton. Sophie H. Fossmeyer from Enid, Oklahoma. Zachary C. Hardy from Chiefland, Florida. Callie E. Hawkins from Norman, Oklahoma, coded by her father, Dr. Pepper Martin. Ansley J. Kramer from O'Neill, Nebraska. Colin Lorenz from O'Neill, Nebraska. Cameron McClure from Harrisburg, Missouri. Cooper McCoy from Durant, Oklahoma. Morgan Miller from Tahlequah, Oklahoma, coded by her mother, Dr. Latricia Pack. Nye Richard from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Eric Roach from Shawnee, Oklahoma. Ethan Robinette from Leavenworth, Kansas. Caitlin M. Shima from Topeka, Kansas. Catherine E. Stanton from Winfield, Kansas. Nate Sutta from Lone Grove, Oklahoma.
Come on, Nick.
Callie Swenson from Warner, Oklahoma. Courtney D. Swift from Owasso, Oklahoma, coded by her father, Dr. Casey Swift. Colby Wilkerson from Greene, Iowa. And Matthew Wolgass from Wichita, Kansas.
Matt. Whoa.
One more round of applause for the class. Dr. Daniel, will you make sure that my slides are showing when I close my computer? Thank you very much. Perfect. Okay. Before we get to our final greeting from the president of the OAOP, Dr. Justin Lindsay, we have a special presentation or a special announcement. Callie Margaret Jordan was born on July 23, 1910, in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and lived a long, full life. Known for her energy, bravery, and positivity, she was schooled in Muskogee, Oklahoma, took courses at the Oklahoma City College of Women in Chickasha, then on to business college, and took correspondence courses from Eastern College. She married her husband, Clyde Stinson, in 1942, and they lived in Oklahoma City for many years, where they worked at Tinker Air Force Base. Upon retirement, they moved to Tahlequah, which Callie's family helped to settle after coming over on the Trail of Tears. In fact, Lozier Street, Callie Street, and Crafton Street, our new building, is at the corner of Cedar and Crafton. They were all named for members of her family. Callie has strong family ties, has strong Tahlequah ties. Her time at Tahlequah was noted for her giving and community service. From the co-chairman for the Red Cross Blood Drive, to being extremely active in the First United Methodist Church as a Sunday school teacher and president of the Circle, to being named the 1979 first runner-up for Teacher of the Year by the National Association of Church School Teachers. In 1978, the Tahlequah Area Chamber of Commerce presented her with the Big T Award, an annual award given to a citizen on the basis of their community service. In 1979, she received the People Helping People Award for outstanding community service. Callie was a giver and a constant source of inspiration to others. Now, you may be thinking right now, how does this have anything to do with a second-year white coat ceremony? And rightfully so. Callie Jordan was born with sight in 1910, but minutes into her life, inappropriately formulated eye drops were put into her eyes, leaving her blind for the rest of her life. As you just heard, that didn't stop Callie Jordan Stinson. Callie was a giver and a constant source of inspiration to others. Upon her death in 1996, Callie left that giving spirit to her family. Looking for a way to honor her legacy, they wanted to mirror Callie's accomplishments while contributing to the place that she called so dearly home, Tahlequah. The family has chosen to open a fund at Communities Foundation of Oklahoma that alleviates some of the financial costs associated with optometry school equipment. The College of Optometry at Northeastern State University, as you've heard already this evening, is world-renowned for their education and training of optometry students and residents, a nod to Tahlequah, Northeastern State University, and those accepted into this prestigious program, looking to devote their lives to help to preserve the gift of eyesight. The Callie Jordan and Clyde Stinson Optometric Student Equipment Fund will provide financial awards to second-year optometry students each year to help with their equipment costs. It will be awarded each year at the White Coat Ceremony and will operate in perpetuity. We are so very pleased to announce tonight a payout of the Callie Jordan and Clyde Stinson Optometric Student Equipment Fund. Each of the 27 students sitting in front of you tonight are about to be handed a $1,000 check towards their equipment costs. What an amazing way to honor Callie and all she did for us. As they're passing this out, offering this tremendous donation year after year will hopefully inspire and produce more optometrists, lead to more recognition for NSU, the College of Optometry, our beloved university, and hopefully inspire others to match Callie's giving spirit. The legacy of Callie Jordan Stinson and her husband will be remembered as those who never let obstacles stand in their way. Again, minutes in her life, she was rendered blind. Again, this was 1910. By the way, her husband, Clyde, was partially sighted from a retinal detachment that took his vision in one eye midway through life. The Community Foundation of Oklahoma and Callie's family look forward to continuing her legacy through this Optometric Student Equipment Fund. If this has inspired you in any way, we would encourage you guys to scan this QR code. Take out your phone, scan this QR code. Any donations, whether they are $5, $10, $20, $50, will go entirely to the Callie Jordan and Clyde Stinson Optometric Student Equipment Fund. And as we build this, it will pay out more. We are hoping for it to go to $1,250 and $1,500 and $2,000 as the years go by. One more round of applause for Callie Jordan. I do want to thank a couple of individuals that are here as these slides cycle through. You'll see a couple of the legacies and kind of what we just mentioned here about Callie and her legacy. I would like to recognize Jennifer Hun from Communities Foundation of Oklahoma. Will you please stand and be recognized? That have been instrumental in this. And again, I would like to recognize the family of Callie, Patsy Nix Smith, Andy Nix, and Jimmy Nix. Please stand to be recognized. You have been tremendous supporters of our program, and we thank you for all that you guys have done in honoring the legacy of Callie. Please help me welcome to the stage President of the Oklahoma Association of Optometric Physicians, Dr. Justin Leach.
Okay, well, this is obviously a very exciting evening for you all. So again, welcome and good evening to everyone. Congratulations to the students receiving your white coats tonight. It warms my heart to see so many of you wearing green, so that is great. I certainly appreciate that as an alumni program myself. Faculty, thank you all for being here. Dr. Shetler, thank you for your speech and for your talk and for wearing green tonight as well, as we spoke earlier. Faculty, again, tonight, Dr. Shetler is getting a lot of recognition, and Dean Lighthizer is as well, but you are all very, very important, so thank you. It's not going to be every day that, good grief, that you all look back and point to a single moment and say, good grief, sorry guys, that's when everything changed. But this is one of those moments. Someday when you look back at 2025, you're going to remember a lot of things. Some of them hopefully good, some of them not, like, the government shutdown. There's turmoil in DC, that's not ideal. But, Oklahoma City Thunder won basketball championship and brought that to us. Taylor Swift got engaged to some football player this year. These are all big things. For those of you who are a little bit older like I am, most recently, if you have a preference for guitar-oriented music, we lost one of the foremost recognizable faces on the planet. Ace Frehley passed away recently. So if you're my age, you will remember that. But regardless of what you choose to remember, long after these headlines fade and the trends move on, you're going to remember this. The year that you put on your white coat, and good grief, it's been a long day, and stepped into the calling of helping people see the world more clearly. This is not just a profession, this is a privilege. I'm especially glad you are marking this milestone here at Converge, because this is where you get to see what Oklahoma optometry is all about. We are a community of people who show up for each other. Look around this room. We talked about a selfie a while ago. These are your future colleagues, your mentors, and your lifelong friends. Together, you're going to carry forward a tradition that has made Oklahoma one of the best places in America to practice optometry and one of the best places to be a patient of an optometrist. Over the next few years, your life will be full of firsts. The first time a patient calls you doctor, the first time you diagnose something that truly changes a life, and the first time you realize that what you do doesn't just help these people see better, it helps them live better. So that's what's waiting for you on the other side of the coat that you just put on. And if you choose to build your career in Oklahoma, which as the OAOP, we certainly hope that you do, you won't just be part of a profession, you'll be part of a family that supports, teaches, and celebrates one another. a family that believes in doing good work for good people in a good place. So now that you put on your coat, remember, it's more than fabric and stitching. It's a promise. It's a promise to your patients, to your peers, and to yourself to keep learning, to keep caring, and to keep seeing the world with clarity and purpose. Congratulations again. Welcome to the next practice of your journey. We're proud you're here. And as I mentioned earlier, all the faculty are doing a great job, but tonight was going to be one of the best lectures you ever hear. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Family cares, doesn't it? That's NSU family, a double NSU graduate, undergrad in NSUOCO, Oklahoma Optometry Special. We are a family. We would invite you to mingle and have some hors d'oeuvres. They're cheesy hors d'oeuvres. Yes, afterwards, so feel free to mingle out in the hallway. We'll have a little reception. Let's have one more round of applause. Let's have the class of 2028 stand and recognize the white coat recipient. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We wish you a wonderful evening, class of 2028. Please come up here to the stage for your photo op.